Hey everybody, welcome to History 132 Online for the fall. My name is Amanda Zakanis. You may have already seen my face if you watched the welcome video and the announcement that went out telling you all about this here video. And you may have already heard more of my voice if you've already watched the Blackboard tour video before watching this one. Either way, this video is going to cover the major points of the syllabus. We're going to look through most of it together, but I am not going to read every single word to you because we are all adults and we can all read. So without further ado, let's get into it. Alright, so as previously mentioned, this is American History 2, History 132, Section I01. The last day to drop this class without a grade penalty, that is without a WF for the semester, is November 4th, 2019. I am Amanda Jewett-Zakanis, as previously mentioned. My office is located in the STEAM building. I'm in room 124. I have office hours on Mondays, both in the morning and the afternoon. In the morning on Mondays, I am available between 8:15 and 9:15. In the afternoons, between 2 and 3. On Tuesday and Thursday, I am available between 10 and 11:30 in the morning. Now, I am on campus other times besides these. These are just designated office hours. But if none of these times work for you, email me and we can set up a time to meet. Email is the best way to reach me. I check my email a lot, especially if I'm just in my office getting stuff done. I always have my email open, so I check it pretty often. I will check my email for the final time, probably about 6 p.m., and then I'm at work at 7:30 in the morning, so I'm checking it pretty early in the morning. So you should be able to get in touch with me pretty quickly. I email at least 24 hours, within 24 hours, but usually it's more like 12 hours. But I give myself that 24 hours just to say you'll get an email back within 24 hours, just in case something happens and I don't quite get to you sooner, but usually I will. Okay. We are going to start at the end of the Civil War, kind of backtrack at the beginning week to talk a little bit about the Civil War, and we're going to go forward in time. We're going to get to about 2008. This is an online course, 100% online. Everything is going to be submitted through Blackboard. Blackboard is extremely well organized, which you either will see or have already seen in that Blackboard tour video. Everything is very clearly labeled, and like I said, the Blackboard tour video covers that pretty extensively. Okay, if you have any questions about anything or where to locate anything, just let me know. You'll be able to do all sorts of really exciting things when you leave this class. Write argument-driven, evidence-based essays. Hooray! Learn to read, think, and write historically using primary source documents. Practice critical thinking by creating evidence-based arguments and challenging arguments you are given. It is totally fine to look at Thomas Jefferson and be like, he is wrong. Because he wasn't right about everything, nobody is, right? So we're going to challenge some of these folks sometimes, and that's perfectly fine. Use and recognize the concepts of change, continuity, and contingency to learn how the struggles we face are not unique to our time. And let's see, you're going to take responsibility for your own education by asking and answering questions of your own making. This is not as formal as it sounds. This could simply be you responding to a classmate, commenting on their discussion board like, hey, what do you think about this? Or how do you think things would be different if this hadn't happened or if this person had done this? So that could even be where that falls. You are going to interpret history through the use of various types of evidence. Yay, because we always want to look at more than one type of evidence to get to the bottom of something. That is true in history and in life. You're going to make academic arguments about history, using reasons and evidence, supporting those reasons that are appropriate to the field of study. You will understand some of the economic, political, environmental, and cultural causes that together transformed life in North America. You will also consider questions of race, class, gender, sexuality, region, ethnicity, and culture. to evaluate the continuing struggles for equality and access in North America. Books, 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 books. There are 2 books. Gosh, I hope you all are watching this. There are 2 books, okay? If you look at the bookstore website, it only has the image of the first book, Give Me Liberty, so it might look like there's only 1 book. There are 2 books. Please get both books. The first book is Give Me Liberty. That's your textbook, also known as a secondary source. A secondary source is, well, for example, this book. Eric Foner took a bunch of primary documentation, which I'll explain in a minute, stuff that was written at the time, and he wrote a book about it, and that is Give Me Liberty. That secondary source is scholars taking a bunch of evidence and writing about it. The second book is Voices of Freedom, a documentary history. That is your primary document reader. So everything in there, with the exception of the introductions to the documents that are written by Foner, everything else is written by people who lived during the time. Abigail Adams, Phyllis Wheatley, we already mentioned Tommy J, Thomas Jefferson, Malcolm X, like all those guys and gals and non-binary pals are all in there. So, that's a primary document. Okay, so written by people who were alive at the time. This includes the edition, it's a volume 2, 5th edition, and the ISBN numbers are here for your convenience as well. There will be additional readings on Blackboard that I will assign. This class does not use eText. Okay, course overview, how do we explain the rise of a modern American nation? We're going to talk about all kinds of stuff. The changes that occur in America were neither inevitable nor welcomed by all Americans, and that's a really important thing that we're going to talk about throughout the semester. There's going to be a running theme. Who was for this, who was against it. These things didn't have to happen just because they did happen. And we're going to answer some questions like, what does freedom mean? Who is an American? What is the proper relationship between individuals and government? So we're going to talk about all kinds of cool stuff, okay? I know you're like, Amanda, we don't care. How are you going to grade us? Well, a few ways. So 20% of your grade is going to be participation. This is going to be through discussion boards that you are going to complete. There will be a discussion board due on the Friday of every week that you do not have an exam or paper due. Okay. These determine your attendance as well, like weekly assignments, like this discussion board kind of doodad determine your attendance. You must complete the discussion board and comment on at least 2 other students' posts. These are like mini papers, and I've got a handout that we go through in the Blackboard video called Discussion Board FAQ. It's in the Welcome tab, in the little welcome folder thing. So if you have any questions after taking a look at that Blackboard video and the handout itself in more detail, you can let me know. But we don't meet and talk in person, right? So the discussion boards are the online version of that. So they're very important. 40% of the class is exams. You'll have 3 online exams consisting of multiple choice, true, false, and identification questions. And I know you're thinking, wow, historians are really bad at math because 40% does not divide evenly amongst 3 exams. You are correct. They do not. They are weighted a little bit differently. So the first exam is only worth 10%. Some of you may never have taken a history exam. Some of you may never have taken an identification portion of an exam. Some of you may have never seen me or heard of me in your entire life and have no idea what my tests are like. So I have the first exam count for a little bit less. Kind of takes a little bit of the pressure off. And then after that first test, once you know what the testing style is like, once you are more familiar with how these tests work, exams 2 and 3 are each worth 15%. And as far as the identification stuff goes, there's an exam FAQ video. There is an example answer for identification, and you can always email me after you check those out if you still have questions. There are study guides for the exams too. So you have a lot of information at your disposal to figure this out before exam 1. The final 40% of your grade is going to be analytical papers and assignments. In fact, I need to do this whole thing where I do this right here. Whee! See, this is why it's good to do this stuff in advance, because I can fix everything before you guys download it. All right, so students will write 2 3 to 5 original argumentative essays based on course readings and they will address major themes in the course. Each paper is worth 20%. Those are big. And I understand that. The nice thing about you guys in the online class is that you get individual feedback on your discussion boards every week for like at least the first half of the semester. You get detailed feedback on those. So you will have had feedback on your writing for several weeks before that first paper is due. The first paper is due week 7. So you will have every week except for the week of the first exam, you'll get feedback on your discussion board. So you will have already had me critiquing your writing, giving you feedback on your writing and all that kind of stuff before that first paper is due. And I'm a really big fan of feedback for assignments because if I'm going to grade you on it, if it's going to count so much, and if you're going to take this class, you should get better at it, right? And you can't do that if I just slap a grade on it and hand it back to you. So I am very, very much a fan of feedback for stuff. You'll see, don't worry. All right, so late work policy. This is important to know. Discussion boards determine attendance and participation. Late assignments will not be accepted without a documented excuse. This can include a doctor's note, a death in the family, all that kind of stuff, any documentation. And if you provide that, you will be able to complete the discussion board late for full credit. Otherwise, no. Papers must be turned in by the deadline given on Blackboard and in the syllabus. Late submissions of papers are deducted 3 points per day, not class day, per day that they are late. That includes Saturdays and Sundays. I will not accept it once it has reached 2 weeks past due. That applies to all late work. Tests can be made up with a documented excuse as well, but just like the discussion boards, you cannot take a test late unless you have a documented excuse. Okay? All right, writing assignments. You're going to write a lot, obviously. We've just been talking about it, and you might be a little bit scared. We're going to use MLA for papers. Here is a link to the NC State Library Citation Builder that you can just plug in your information, and it'll spit out a citation in case you are struggling with MLA formatting. Some extra credit opportunities may be offered. There is one already up in your Blackboard shell, and History Club, which I'm the faculty advisor for, is going to do some events and stuff, so there might be some other opportunities there as well. Grading, 10-point scale, 10-point scale. I was like the Hermione Granger of my class. In every class I was in college and graduate school, I was a big fan of having my grades back as quickly as possible, doing all the math in my head, like, okay, if I get this on the final paper, I get this in the class, So I, on the flip side of that, as an instructor, am really big on getting grades up in Blackboard as quickly as I can, and you will be able to have access to all that information in the Grade Center on Blackboard. So every assignment has explicit instructions. The primary focus will always be the quality of the content. Like, did you answer the questions, right? Did you support your answer with proper evidence? Historians are all about, you can argue all day long, but you got to have evidence for your argument. Okay, formatting and mechanics are still important, but they play a smaller role. That is, unless your paper is so typo-tastic, like you just didn't even look at it before you turned it in, that I can't read it. If I am struggling to read it, it's really going to impact your grade. All right, so I will make every effort to return tests and papers within 2 weeks and discussion boards within 1 week. You will get comments. You will get so many comments. There will be comments coming out of your ears. I am a big fan of comments. After fall break, the comments will stop on discussion boards unless you ask for them. I will give you grades, and you can email me for feedback if you want. By the time we get halfway through the semester, you guys have either read the comments and the feedback that I provided and used it to get better, or you have ignored it. So really, that's kind of the two things we get. And at that point, you know what you should be doing, and you're going to do it. That is to say, if you get a grade on week 10, 11, 12, whatever, and you think that you might want an explanation, or you might want to see your feedback, I will send it to you if you email me for it, okay? You will still get feedback on papers even after that second half of the semester, the second paper, second exam. You will get feedback on that even after the feedback for the discussion boards is no longer automatically coming to you. You will find the feedback if you go to the My Grades section. Any underlined hyperlink grade, you can click on that. You can see the details about the grade, and you will be able to see the feedback there. Okay, I comment directly on the exams in the identification section. I will comment both directly on the paper the papers you write and in the feedback to learner section. Like I said, comments are going to be just everywhere, okay? All the comments. Critical success strategies, things you should do because, being successful in class is probably a good idea. Check your email daily. Like I said, I check my email a lot. I will also email you a lot. You'll get emails from me at least twice a week. I usually send an email out on Monday like, hey, it's week 8. Here's what we're doing this week. Yay. And then Friday I'll be like, hey, remember this is due. There might be additional emails, if we need to change our schedule, which you will, get noticed. I always move things further out. I never say, hey, that thing that was due in 2 weeks, it's due right now. I would never do that because I don't hate you. So check your email because that's how I can get in touch with you. So that's how you're going to get notices, or notifications rather, if things are changing or if there's a History Club event that you've got an extra credit opportunity for, you'll find out that way as well. So check your email, okay? We're going to move really fast. We're covering, lots, over 150 years in the space of 18 weeks. So it's a lot. So you will need to, actively engage in the class every week. You're going to need to do all the readings. You're going to need to watch the lecture videos. Spend time outside of just writing the discussion board. So outside of class, you will need to be working on this class, okay? We're going to use Blackboard, yay, Blackboard. Lecture outlines are provided on Blackboard for you to fill out as you watch the lecture. They assist in note-taking. The lecture notes, which is basically the script I use to lecture from, is also available on Blackboard. I have had some students complain that the lecture notes are on Blackboard. I think that's a little weird. I didn't used to post them, so I just had the video and you had the lecture outline and you could fill in the lecture outline, but if you missed it, it was gone. So I have students who print out the notes and highlight as I talk. I have students who just create extra spaces in the lecture outlines and fill those in. We'll look at those outlines when we get to the Blackboard video. So, do whatever works for you. But I know that I've had students be like, I don't even know why she has the notes. Just because you don't need them doesn't mean that they aren't really beneficial to someone else, right? So I include them. All right, so we're going to use respectful language to refer to groups, individuals, and fellow students. Comments and feedback given to fellow students should be constructive. Harassment or inappropriate behavior will not be tolerated. This is an important one. We're talking about a lot of hot topics in here. Racism, sexism, we're going to talk about lynching. We're going to talk about, all kinds of war. I mean, all kinds of stuff that is really, protesting war. I mean, all these things that people are really still get very uppity about, right? So we can disagree and have a constructive discussion. Some of the best discussions come from disagreements, but you need to be respectful while you're disagreeing with people, and that's absolutely how we'll get along in here, no problem, if everybody's respectful, okay? Plagiarism and cheating will not be tolerated. I've had to deal with this before. You will get a 0 on the assignment and you will be reported. Please don't do it, okay? I say this with all the truth in the world. All of you are way smarter than doing that, okay? And I know that. Like, I don't even know some of you, and I know, you've made an excellent choice to further your education. That means you are smarter than cheating. So please do not do it, okay? It's a huge waste of your time. You're paying for this class, so you really should learn it and do the assignments on your own and all that kind of stuff, because otherwise you are cheating yourself, and not just cheating in the class, right? And there will be consequences, so please don't do it, okay? Email me if you have any questions or need any other assistance. We could do in-person meetings if you would like. If you are a little bit further out of town and don't want to do it, an in-person meeting rather, we could do like a Skype meeting if you want to have a face-to-face interaction, or you could call me on the phone, which I don't have my office phone hooked up as of the time that I'm recording this. I will send out an announcement when I have my office phone number. And if for some reason I don't have an office phone number, I'll give you my cell phone number. Because if you need to talk to me, you got to be able to talk to me. All right, online course attendance policy. You need to take the enrollment verification quiz by August 28th to stay enrolled in the class. And you can miss 2 weeks of class. So if you don't turn in a discussion board on week 4 and you don't turn in a discussion board on week 8, you're still okay. If you miss another assignment, test paper, discussion board, whatever, that means you're missing a third week of class, you get dropped. Okay. Please contact me if you are struggling. I did not get bitten by any radioactive animals or fall into any sort of barrel of toxic waste, so I have zero superpowers. I am not a psychic individual, so I do not know if something is going on unless you tell me. So if you are struggling in the class or if you have a personal issue that is preventing you from getting things done on time, let me know. Okay, just let me know. All right, religious or solemn observance. People have religious beliefs, and that is super cool and very interesting. They are very eclectic and have sources all over the world. If you need to miss class for some sort of religious observance, that's fine. We have a form for that. So please get me the form at least 2 weeks before the date that you'll be absent. You will be able to make up all work for full credit. All right, we have a faculty first policy here at JCC. If you have a problem with me, if I've offended you or upset you in some way, please let me know. We are adults and we can talk about it. It is a two-way thing. Just like if you were to make a comment in someone's post and I thought it was inappropriate, I would contact you and let you know, hey, maybe we should step back on this a little bit or reword it, because we're working with written text here, right? You cannot convey tone properly in written text. So I may say something that I mean as a joke or a lighthearted thing, and the way you've read it, it sounds mean or, just antagonistic. Let me know what's going on, okay? We can resolve it. If, I say something and it's received a certain way, just let me know. We'll talk about it. We can apologize, all that good stuff, okay? And I'll return the favor to you, all right? There's a great Key and Peele sketch, in fact, when Jordan Peele and Keegan-Michael Key are texting each other, and Jordan Peele is like totally chill and like, yeah, okay, let's hang out. And Keegan-Michael Key is receiving the text thinking that Jordan Peele wants to like fight him. So that's just an example of how two people having the same conversation can interpret the conversation totally differently. So just let me know if you have a problem. If you feel like the problem is too big, this so far has never happened to me and hopefully it won't. If you feel like the problem is too big to talk to me about, you can talk to my department chair about it, okay? And then the step above that is the Associate Vice President of USET. So hopefully that will not happen, because we are adults and I love to learn and grow as a person and would like to do it every day until the end of my life. So if you have an issue and it's an opportunity for me to grow and learn, I would love to resolve that issue and I will return the favor to you. That is it for the syllabus. Please make sure that you have also looked at the Blackboard tour video before jumping into week one's assignments. Remember that icebreaker discussion board is going to be due on Sunday. I'm very excited for this semester. I love History 132 and we have awesome discussions in here. So I cannot wait to get into it with you guys. It's going to be awesome. And contact me with any questions.